sleeping like a puppy curled up in Moonwood Mill's lot. Wild returned as something different, something bigger, stronger, and more furious, magical in nature, but yet something else by design. Wild became a werewolf, unaware of any changes. Wild continued as it did prior as a regular dog, scavenging and digging for whatever it can find. Frustrated and angry, Wild marked its territory and ventured off into town looking for food and shelter. Wild then came across another werewolf living alone in the forest. Wild believing both of them are lost, Wild thought he could help and share some food together. But out nowhere Greg let out an intimidation howl which frightened Wild. But the fury in Wild was unleashed, and Wild tackled Greg in hope to display dominance over him in order for Greg to feed Wild. Wild slashed, clawed, and bit Greg, but despite Wild efforts, Wild just wasn't a match for Greg. Overwhelmed with confusion, Wild was left alone, hungry, and now beaten. Wild ventured further to find some food. After traveling some distance, Wild found herself at Koosh Mansion at the top of a forgotten hollow, which she thought was empty. But once Wild arrived on the mansion grounds, Wild was dazed by the scent coming of Natasha. Natasha quickly felt Wild innocent behavior and allowed Wild to sniff her. Because Wild was suddenly dazed by Natasha's scent, it gave Natasha time to further connect with Wild. But due to Wild lack of a vocabulary, Natasha knew she will need to be enrolled into school to assist her with communicating her wants and needs. As time continues, Wild and Natasha became very close, more like a big sister and little sister relationship. Wild would share with Natasha every detail of her day. These conversations would go on for hours, with Wild using her enhanced smell to learn a lot about her classmates. Natasha would listen to her day with much interest in her expressions, making Wild very excited. Natasha would also listen to Wild in the case Wild might need more assistance expressing her wants and needs. But as Natasha noticed Wild's growth in her IQ, Natasha was shocked to hear that Wild wanted to join the Scouts to further her understanding of the world around her and to help others like her big sis Natasha. After Wild and Natasha conversation about school and Scouts in order to survive in these modern times, Wild didn't waste any time returning to her studies and focusing on her future as a werewolf. But here's my question to my followers. Have you ever been in Scouts? If so, let's talk about it in the comments below. You never know who you might help encourage to experience something new. After a couple of weeks spending time with Natasha, Wild learned to control her rage in order to remain in human form, and in doing so made a few new friends along the way. But despite now being able to parade around as a human, Wild still harbor many of her canine attributes, which for Natasha is very interesting, seeing her transform into a young woman. Well, almost anyway, but as Natasha watched her, she still finds herself proud of her every day.
Wild, I want to let you know that I'm so proud of your accomplishments this far. You have managed your anger fabulously. You brought your grades from AF to AC, which is growth, and you're excelling in Scouts. So I was thinking, would you want to meet my friend Lillian? We can chat it up, and if you like, you can cook for us for Scouts.
Returning to her homework, Wild was happy to be included on an outing with the girls. Now meeting up with Lillian, the three would talk about Wild's plans now that she has a grasp on wants and needs to a degree. But shortly after, it was apparent that Wild was getting upset due to the small crowd gathering. At the same time, Lillian was being influenced by Wild's temper. Wild was feeling judged and wanted to scare everyone off. But she also didn't want to make a bad first impression, with Lillian embarrassing Wild's big sis Natasha. Feeling uncomfortable, Wild asked Natasha if they could leave. Natasha then told everyone that the girls will be done playing chess soon and will be going home shortly after. The crowd, not to bother by Natasha's announcement, start talking among themselves, while the guy in blue couldn't keep his eyes off Lillian.
Girls, let's wrap up this game.
As Wild start cooking, she start thinking and asking herself, why am I here? What's my purpose for becoming a werewolf? Frustrated and not realizing, Wild starts displaying more of her canine ways as her thoughts wander slowly, leaving her human consciousness, allowing her rage to overcome her. Feeling Wild's rage building up, Lillian ran to Wild's aid in hope to calm her down and continue their day together at the park.
There, Wild, everything will be okay. The food smell delicious, and you're doing a fabulous job.
Lillian tried calming Wild down by talking about her schedule and allowing Wild to talk herself back from her rage ledge. Monday through Friday at school, and on the weekend Wild has scouts, and in order to explore she must have all responsibilities done.
I'm going to have to catch up with you ladies later.
So just as again, Wild did a great job cooking.
I'll take your word on it.
The ladies took the opportunity to discuss their stands on Wild. Natasha got Lillian updated on Wild, and she have came as far as growth, informing Lillian of Wild's grades improving, her commitment to scouts, and how helpful and appreciative she is. Lillian then expressed how she feels a strong connection to Wild as if she knows her. Lillian goes on to say how she only remembering hearing that name in regards to Animal's pet that's no longer here. Both Natasha and Lillian thought it was strange and a coincidence that name is being used. Both Natasha and Lillian decided that they'll gather some more information before making up assumptions.
Did you bring our raw meat, you dog? Also, you reek of vampire, and that's not cool, but you're just a dog, so I'll hold that information in my pocket. But for your first day of initiation, you'll be digging until I tell you to stop.
Wild start digging is what Rory believes is a punishment for Wild associating herself with vampires. But for Wild, this experience seemed fun due to Wild doing what come natural to her, which is scavenging. But for Wild, the werewolf look and somewhat behave the way she does. So Wild is thinking maybe here is where I belong. Wild, shocked by Kush's scary appearance, was nervous when Kush asked to talk to her about her new wolf pack. As they walked to the couch, Wild was nervous about not being able to see her pack again, being that Kush is vampire, and wonder if Kush knew who pack Wild was in. But surprisingly, Kush informed her that a werewolf by the name of Rory came by looking for Wild, and was literally sniffing around Kush's mansion. Kush informed Wild that despite how others feels they are a family, and a pack of their own, Kush informed Wild that because she's not of blood she can do as she likes, but she will not leave his mansion unless she is capable of handling herself out there in the dangerous world. But as Kush is talking, Wild adopting other teens' behaviors covered of her ears, showing little interest in the noise Kush is saying, not tolerating disrespect, but realizing Wild little to no experience in the way of werewolves and their pack. Kush decided to just sit away from Wild, but noticing Kush's disappointment, Wild allowed Kush to finish his points. Not wanted to waste too many words, Kush just let Wild know that if she need any help to not hesitate to contact any one of them in the mansion. Kush also offer his time to properly teach Wild how to haunt large prey, fight, and utilize her natural instincts. All Wild was thinking was how can a vampire help her? Meeting up with Rory, both werewolves decided to bond over a game of tug-of-war. But Wild start noticing Rory's aggressive demeanor, which was weird to her. But later on, Rory asked for Wild to help her scavenge to find the secrets of the werewolf's lore. But like before, Rory just stood around while Wild did all the work. Once home, Wild went out back to her wood crafting table that Natasha got her, and start thinking about how everyone treat her differently. The Kush mansion treat her like a younger sibling. School and scouts praise her efforts, but her pack leader make her question her pack leader's actions and intentions. For Wild, this is all confusing, but at the same time, something doesn't feel right how she is being treated by Rory, and is something Wild will need to keep a close eye on in the near future. Not wasting any time, Kush started Wild's training, getting her familiar with the basic SIM fighting techniques so her body will recognize the different feeling of tension when moving and swinging. Kush made sure if Wild was ever stranded on an island, she would be able to fish and feed herself. And as promised, Kush taught Wild how to hunt for wild tigers, lions, and bears which gave Wild all the confidence to stand up for herself and not be a pushover. As Wild snack on great white shark meat, she thinks to herself,
I came so far in this year, scouts, school, joining a pack, and even gained some awesome sisters in Natasha and Lillian. I need to talk to Kush.
Once upstairs, Wild confronted Kush in how he trained her to handle the situation with Rory. She further said that Rory was her first pack friend and doesn't deserve the type of fight that Wild was trained for. But Kush didn't say much while sipping his plasma pack.
I can't stand him sometimes, but I should be asleep to meet with Lillian tomorrow to talk.
Like always, Lillian starts the conversations with a friendly chess match before the actual conversation. But not wasting much time, Lillian informed Wild that she was once part of their family as a dog.
You mean me, you, an animal?
Yep, Animal raised you from a puppy and made you his familiar.
Lillian told Wild how much Animal adored her and tried taking her everywhere he went. But due to Lillian exploring space and learning more about her own alien background, Lillian suggested Wild speak to Animal's brother Wiccan to get more the details on what actually happened to Wild and how she became a werewolf. Lillian then informed Wild that she's arranged for her and Animal to speak, but she wanted to first get a feel of Animal's emotions before the both of them meeting. But after their emotional and informative conversations, the ladies part ways, giving hugs and moving onwards to have these uncomfortable and crazy conversations. Wild, being tired from the travel from Brindleton Bay to Grimmerbrook, Wild didn't waste any time asking Wiccan questions after question about her life as Wild the dog. Wiccan just suggested,
if you're looking to know how Wild lost her life, watch a Realm of Magic episodes, which also includes my introduction.
But after Wiccan explained what happened and where he felt he fell short in the situation, Wiccan then helped Wild remember some of her feeling during her time as a dog. Wild remembered Wiccan saying how wonderful Wild was and how lucky for Animal in finding her and returning her home. Wiccan then added how enraged Animal got and how he then punished Mariana Suarez for having her taken and for leaving her in the cold. Wiccan then mentioned Duval, but before any details could be explained, Wild rage grew to the point that Wild transformed. But after Wiccan initial fear quickly teleported Wild away from his home.
Hey bro, some crazy stuff is happening. Wild is back. I don't know how, but she is, and she's a werewolf. Call me when you get this message.
So we find Lillian explaining the whole Wild situation to Animal, how they met, and that she's currently living with Koosh and his retainers. But in hearing this news, Animal was excited and very pleased that his wish came true to have Wild be returned to the living. Now excited herself, Lillian went on to inform Animal that Wild grades are good, that Wild completed scouts, and how Wild is part of a community werewolf pack in Moonwood Mills.
And the crazy part is that you met her a couple of times.
Now certain of Animal feelings towards Wild's return, Lillian told Animal that he should visit and talk to Wild in hope that they can feel each other out to possibly rebuild their relationship.
It's Wiccan. I'll just call him later.
Finally, face to face, Animal and Wild start over talking each other and tripping over their words in excitement, trying to update each other on everything up to this point in time. Wild informed Animal of all the obstacles Wild had to overcome to be in a place to be able to just have a conversation. Wild told Animal about Greg attacking her, her frenemy Rory, and how everyone in the Koosh mansion took good care of her. Animal took his moment to reflect on the past with Wild, and how sad he was when he lost her again. Animal mentioned making a wish to Grim to bring her back, but wouldn't ever put two and two together to guess that she was this werewolf person. But after a long while of stories being exchanged between the two, Animal decided to call it a night, and suggested that he still owe word Wild, and hoped to still be able to be a part of Wild's life. But before Animal could leave, Wild told Animal her name, Roxie W. Howling. Animal smiled, loving her new name. Later that night, Animal and Koosh met to discuss Roxie and everything that is going on in her life. Koosh informed in more detail how Koosh been training Roxie to take care of herself and how to deal with people who gets in her way. But upon hearing this, Animal was concerned. But Koosh reassured Animal that everything will be fine.
I know you're worried, but I know Rory, and I helped save her when she was just a little girl from a huge fire. She helping me build Roxie's confidence to fight Greg again in order when Rory freed him again.
But seeing the worry on Animal's face, Koosh then explained his and Rory's staged fight to help Roxie determine how she need to approach this situation in order to make difficult decisions. As Roxie was on her way to visit Animal and Lillian, a mysterious and beautiful tree spoke out to her, giving her instructions on how to explore the hidden world inside the tree. Roxie viewed the tree about 3 times, watered the tree 3 times, and after a couple conversations, the tree world opened up. But who you think is calling out to Roxie from inside this tree? As happy as could be, Roxie started thinking about how her family is growing, and how she collected all of her scout badge. But in the distance, Roxie noticed that Koosh and Rory is fighting. Roxie couldn't believe her eyes as her adopted big brother Koosh and pack friend Rory is fighting right outside their door. But in seeing this, Roxie couldn't believe that Rory beat Koosh in a fight, which gave Roxie a little confidence in her werewolf ability to challenging Rory for her position as alpha to put an end to this occult beef. But noticing Roxie rage after just fighting Koosh, Rory decided to accept the challenge, but in tug of war, but quickly realized that Roxie have gotten a lot strong since their last encounter. After their battle, Roxie revisit Greg to get some get back for attacking her, but mostly for making Roxie friend Rory be an awful werewolf. But thanks to Kush's training and Roxie's new confidence, Roxie made quick work of Greg and releasing Greg control over Rory. But once Roxie made it back home, Roxie went to sleep taking great pride in defending the Koosh mansion, becoming an alpha of the Wild Fangs and putting Greg in his place. If you ask me, I would say today is a good day. After exploring the hidden tree world, Roxie rushed home and informed Koosh, Julius, and Natasha of her discovery. Roxie describes that the trees in the hidden world has beautiful pink leaves that gives a sweet scent throughout the air, a plush meadow as soft as a purple mattress, glorious waterfall, and 2 cute lakes with fresh fish.
That sounds like a magical place I would love to visit.
Can you imagine all the different species and wildlife I can study?
As they all was talking, Roxie interrupted the other excitement by telling them all how she was drawn to the tree when trying to visit Lillian at her house. Roxie told the other that it was like the voice was only calling out to her. Wanting to understand Roxie a little more, Lillian hung out with Roxie and the wolf fangs in order to feel them all out. But as Lillian hung back and observed Roxie, Lillian was in shock how well organized and patient Roxie was with her wolf fangs. Lillian was able to recognize both Animal and Kush's influence over Roxie as Roxie ordered her gang, giving them instructions in order to keep their pack strong and vigilant.
Hey gang, I got to head home, but I can tell that Wild Fang will reach the top.
You're damn right.
Hearing Lillian's approval of Roxie's leadership got the gang fired up. Roxie then gave instructions to her pack to stock their hangout with raw meat for their future members before everyone went their own way. But instead of going home, Roxie revisited the hidden world in the tree with the hope of making contact with the mysterious voice again, until exhaustion got the better of Roxie as she slept near the waterfall lake. After a good wolf nap, Roxie played a song for the whispering voice in the hope that it will reveal the SIM behind this mystery to her. Like a trance, the only 3 words that stick out to Roxie is stump, magic, and beans, which for Roxie sounds pretty broken, and not giving her any clues. Back at the mansion, we find Lord Koosh and Natasha in the mansion's basement putting the last couple of touches, ensuring that Julius' new science equipment is properly connected and working so Julius can have his own functional research space. Julius' research room comes with a mini cell room with a toilet, shower, bed, and end table to house Julius's guest comfortably while assisting Julius in his research.
Is anyone home?
Roxie is home. I'll go talk to her to find out where she was at last night.
Once home, Roxie started her homework while thinking.
So much is going on right now. Pack leader, completing scouts, and damn near done with school with a solid B+ in my studies. Plus the whispering tree spirit and its riddles. I think I should talk to Natasha and find out what else is available for me here to continue growing.
Roxie quickly finished her studies and started getting excited to tell Natasha her plans for herself. Shortly afterwards, Roxie informed Natasha that Roxie is interested in becoming a detective in order to protect and serve her new life with her family and friends. But in hearing the news, Natasha got worried that Roxie wouldn't be suitable for the career, and suggested that Roxie take some classes in college to gain a better understanding of the rules of the law. Now with a plan in the works, Roxie asked Natasha if she think Koosh would let her have a birthday party since it'd been 2+ years. Getting her wish, Lord Koosh called everyone they knew to celebrate Wild's 18th birthday. Animal in charge of food and drinks, Koosh being their security guard, and Natasha making sure everyone is on their best behavior. There was Sims dancing on the dance floor like there was no tomorrow. They are different occults, putting their differences aside to celebrate Roxie's birthday. Good company, good music, and good food. But during the party, Roxie noticed a teen girl dancing beside her and looking in Roxie's direction, not thinking too much of it. Suddenly Roxie caught the scent of the hidden tree world near her. but was just too busy enjoying herself at her party with her family and friends to put any energy in searching for scent. As Roxie looked over at her family enjoying themselves and getting along, Roxie started feeling happy and appreciative for her family support.
So Animal, our little Wild, is growing up and ready to tackle the world on her own. How you feel about that?
Man Kush, I'm happy and proud for Roxie accomplishments. Lillian told me that Roxie is a great pack leader, so I know she'd do well in a university, and will be there to help her.
So we start our journey with Roxie being Roxie and doing her thing at her university dorm. As she's getting her life together, Roxie was pretty excited and nervous now living so far away from her family and pack mates. But for Roxie to see her plans to the end gave her all the confidence he needed. Putting everything Roxie have learned during these couple of years into practice, Roxie was getting along with her roommates and holding conversations sharing their excitements and fears of college life. For the first time, Roxie got to sleep in her own bed and not having to deal with ghosts popping up throughout the night. And for Roxie, that's a win in her book. Waking up from her sleep, Roxie went out exploring the campus when she came across statues that have been defaced, at which Roxie took it upon herself to clean it up and made offerings since she's seen someone else do it.
I wonder what happens now, but I should head back to work on my schedule.
Later that night, Roxie decided to take her sister's advice and sat down to organize her schedule.
Look like I have a full load. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I have the fix is in class from 11 to 12:25. Tuesday and Thursday I have robotics dream from 8 to 9:25, experiment in energy from 9:30 to 10:55, and magnets a D. Mechanics from 11 to 12:25. I guess we'll start with the fix is in homework assignment.
We return to Roxie enjoying her studies on robotics and rocket engineering while she enjoyed the outdoors breeze, the other students chatter, and finding her independence.
It looked like we can purchase robot salvage parts on the computer or find them on electronic waste. Sims can craft RC quadcopter, computer chips, and mechanisms using the robotics workstation. I should have took Cushion Animal cash offer instead asking them to hold it until I graduate. These parts are expensive, and I only have 7,600 simoleon to my name.
Roxie later returned back to her dorm to start her presentation for her experiments of energy class. In her presentation, Roxie discussed the benefits and accomplishments that can be achieved through robotics. Having the robotic perform tasks such as tending to your garden and helping our future werewolf pups be noticed for something more than just mindless freaks of nature.
Something seemed off about my presentation. Maybe I can ask one of my roommates if they could take a look at it.
As Roxie asked around for assistance, a classmate happened to be visiting a friend, and when asked for the classmate was excited to love to help Roxie with her presentation. Giving it her all, Roxie started her presentation capturing most of her classmate attention as she discussed her presentation from start to end about robotics and how their technology can better lives of all Sims. As Roxie listened to herself talking, she started feeling more confident in building her charisma and even more confident in her study routine. But knowing all good things must come to an end, Roxie put away her presentation with an excellent quality to make it to her robotics event. But due to Roxie not having much money, Roxie spent her time crafting robotics part in order to later to use the parts to craft her own robot herself. This routine of Roxie going to all her classes on time, completing homework after school and before bed, spending time making sure her presentation is excellent before turning it in, and completing her final on her computer, allowed Roxie to check out some of her campus organization events such as Brainiac Club, Robotic Club, and Cheer Squad. It looked like someone's very focused. So we meet with Roxie finishing up the rest of her homework in order to meet with Rory to allow her a chance to check out the campus. Knowing how scary and overwhelming the experience can be, Roxie is hoping that the werewolves wouldn't want to be outshined by a dog will encourage them to consider in enrolling to better their future.
I'm going to have to hurry to finish my homework because I can already smell Rory's scent in the air, so she shouldn't be too far from the campus. Okay, I have enough time to plant this trash plant in order to receive more parts for my robotic class. Hopefully no one is bothered by the smell.
As the girls meet up with each other, Roxie welcomed Rory to the campus, letting her know their plans for the day. Rory was more curious of Roxie's plan to clean up Moonwood Mills. But not wanting to break custom, Roxie wanted to test Rory's strength, making sure she isn't lacking on her packing.
Before we go in, let's see if you still got it.
Not wasting any time, the werewolves went at each other, testing each other's strength. But again, Rory notices the big gap in their strength, and how much stronger Roxie keep becoming. But as the two hang out at the Foxburg Commons, Roxie explained to Rory the type of pack she want to build, and the future she see for them. Roxie tells Rory about the different opportunities and advancements that the university offers, and how she can move away from always having to take hand-me-down items for their pack.
Hey, Rory, one of my roommates just arrived to hang out with us. Let's go down there to meet her, and if you have any questions, she'll be able to give you more information.
After spending some time playing juice pong, and Rory asking her questions, Rory started feeling uncomfortable, and wanted to end their day in order to go home to think about everything she experienced today, and wanted to talk to the others in their pack to get their opinions. But later that night, after walking Rory home, Roxie revisit her trash plant, and to take notes on the plant's rapid growth.
I hope I was able to convince Rory to enroll, but outside that, this trash plant is going to be a lifesaver.
Finishing up Roxie's first semester at Foxburg Institution, Roxie sits on the Foxburg balcony relaxing and enjoying the breeze. Roxie thinks,
I'm so happy to be done with this semester, and can't wait to visit Uncle Wiccan to tell him the great news about my GPA, and how I'm doing with making friends. Matter of fact, let me start heading there now.
Once at Wiccan's house, Roxie was getting Clarence caught up on all the little drama that was going on throughout Foxburg. Roxie also let Clarence know that she made some friends and had both congratulators, and had her when it come to her being a werewolf. But no one stepped up or said anything to her, so she's not bothered too much by it.
Well, I'm happy that you're doing so well, and I was telling Wiccan how lucky we are to live so close to Britecester. Also, Carson was mad that you left without holding him.
Bring me that cutie pie.
As Roxie held Carson, she kept picking up a strong magical scent like lighter fluid which was messing with her nose.
Aren't you just the cutest young man? You going to help Aunt Roxie build robots and rockets?
I'm going to check on the girl and let you to talk.
As the two talk, they both updated each other on the latest news that have been going on in their life. Roxie shared her plans for the Moonwood Mills, her school experience, and her annoying roommates, while Wiccan shared his experience visiting Natasha at the hospital, possible change of heart towards Koosh and his retainers, and how the babies be working him overtime.
Question, is Animal going to pop the question to Lillian? Because she texted me saying that she found a ring in Animal's bag, and thought he was going to propose to her. What do you know?
I haven't heard anything.
Well, I got to get back. Talk to you guys later.
Can anyone hear me? Please help get me out. I don't want to be down here anymore.
As Roxie was returning to her campus to enroll in her second term, she came across a servo bot slowly breaking down due to the rain.
If I can just reconfigure this servo temporarily, I could take it to Moonwood Mills and show it off to the werewolf community, showing them that robotics is the way of the future. Alright, servo, I'm going to need your help to pull this off. As you can see, there's no one is here at the library or the bar across the way, so we're going to visit the Wolf Fangs hangout, call the pack over, and that will be our moment to shine.
As Roxie looked around, she started becoming frustrated due to her small window of opportunity to share her vision for werewolves. Not knowing the next time she will get her paws on a servo, she just hopes someone is at the hangout. Once Roxie arrived, she became furious due no one being at the hangout or around to check out the servo she brought over, thinking,
I wonder, this have anything to do with my busy schedule and the Wolf Fangs potentially removing me from the pack? You know what? F it. I'll just have to get at Rory to find out what's going on.
The next day, Roxie smelled Lou downstairs and wanted to let off some frustration from last night. So the two werewolves didn't waste any time sparing on the side of the dorm house. But after a pretty lengthy fight, the two werewolves gave each other a smooth apology and went inside to chill.
So where was you guys last night?
I was asleep, But since Rory last visits up here, she haven't been pushing the growth of the wolf fangs, and as of right now the only members are you, me, and Rory. So once I got your scent at the hangout I decided to stop by. But I got to go catch you later.
Okay, bye.
Needing a little more understanding of her situation with her old friends, Roxie decided to open up to her roommates about her fears of being judged, her hardships with others, and her reasons for enrolling into a university.
Thank you for the advice and lending an ear. Catch you girls later. Going to this brainiac club. So I was talking to my roommates, and I decided to focus on me first, and everything outside once I'm done here. Meet new folks, and build strong relationships.
Well, you're cool to me. You work really hard and laser focus. I feel you should only look forward and not backwards.
After hearing this, Roxie rushed home to further organize her life and write out her new goals moving forward.
Okay, as of right now, I don't have any debt since I paid off my student loan, and having a full paid tuition is one less issue I have to worry about this term. And every day I feel as if I'm getting stronger, especially learning I'm able to run at super speed. I think before I settle on being a detective, I should continue working hard in order to see what other opportunities can come my way, and kinda move away from what is expected from me by others.
So we catch up with Roxie relaxing outside her dorm, finishing her third term of her physics degree, thinking,
The last 3 terms was very interesting and informative for myself and my Wolfpack future. Now that I have finished 11 of the 12 classes, I can now focus on the different organizations in order to further my goals after graduation.
Later that morning, Roxie made her routine trip to Foxbrook Commons in order to craft more parts for her robotic project and to be ahead of her one class next term.
Man, time fly by when you're having fun, but it looked like the robotic club is about to start, and that means free parts and a bunch of robots. Hey pal, it looked like you need a little pick-me-up. Well, you're in the right hands, and I'm going to have you all patched up and back to yourself, all fixed up and ready to get back out there.
After tinkering with the other robots, Roxie decided to gather with her robotic friends and show in of some good old Foxbrook spirit while having some good fun with her like-minded Sims.
So have Animal popped the question?
No, not yet. But he waited for me while I was exploring space, so I can wait for him as well.
But not wasting any time, Roxie went into the kitchen to get everyone's ingredients to begin cooking.
Okay everyone, make sure to wash your hands before we start cooking. Remember, I need this dessert to be as good as possible so I can offer it as a gift.
Let me hurry and pick a spot to prep.
So who are you making dessert for? A friend boy? Or some girl?
None of the above. I'm making this dessert as an offering to the university sprites to join the secret society in order to find a connection between the sprite and that tree spirit.
I remember you telling us about that.
Babe, you're making a mess everywhere.
Shut up.
Don't be getting mad. You know I'm just playing with you. But remember, we have to get ready to pack, so don't make extra work for us.
Yeah.
Wait, moving? Where you guys think you're going?
Well, I always wanted to move back to Oasis Spring, but Lillian want to move to Henford Don Dagley once available, so we're still deciding.
After chillaxing with Animal and Lillian while catching up, Roxie waited until deep into the night, hoping to witness Animal's proposal to Lillian, but nothing was mentioned. Eventually, Roxie left to her school statue to present her offering to sprites.
I hope these sprites like the pan de muerto that I made with Animal and Lillian. I knew having Animal help would improve the quality of any dish we made. But let me get back to our spirit club. Here I come.
As Roxie threw back the pong juices, all her campus friends from the 2 other dorms arrived to celebrate with her. You have the students from Briny Tower, which you have control over one roommate, but the 7 other Sims be all in your space playing music and instruments all day. The Maritime Manor students arrive showing their support, which in that dorm you only have to worry about yourself, and your non-playable roommates uses their electives to keep the dorm running smoothly. At these events, Roxie uses the opportunity to receive tips while leveling up her guitar skills and keeping everyone entertained, but focusing back on the dorms, We have Tidal Tower, which is Roxy dorm is currently in, but it seems like a mix of the other two dorms, being a bunch of semi-responsible Sims. And as you can see, at Foxbury Institution their mascot will not hesitate to be those claws on you if need be. So I would suggest you not come up here wasting anyone's time up in here. Up in here.
I heard someone's graduating.
Hey. Come here. I don't want anyone knowing.
My bad.
But I'm so excited. But when you're going to make Lillian your wife?
Whoa. Someone want the tea today.
Well, are you? You know she cares about you.
Okay, look, when we talk about private stuff, I don't want to be talking to Roxie, but my trusty friend Wild, okay. But that's in the works right now, and I spoke to Natasha about make Lillian a beautiful set when they open their jewelry store.
Look, Animal, I will remain a loyal friend to both you and Lillian, so your secrets are your secrets. So in this relationship as your friend, all I ask is you keep me from having go against my morals. But outside of that, I'm so excited for you guys. Just make sure to put in a good word for me to Lillian when she's picking her maid of honor.
Later that night, a member from the secret society approached Roxy in her dorm and made her a member. Once Roxy received her outfit, Roxy pulled out her guitar and jammed the rest of the night away. We are back with Roxy in her last couple of days at Foxbury Institution, helping her fellow roommate fix some of the malfunction equipment around their dorm, when out of nowhere her roommate get electrocuted and become Roxy's first unalived body she have seen. Shortly afterwards, the rest of the dorm's residents and their guests came into the room to witness the last of a roommate. Roxy, really unsure what to do in this situation, decided to copy the other roommates in order not seem careless. Once Grim arrived to reap the roommate's soul, Grim noticed Roxy and remember Animal plead for Roxy's to be returned, and as Grim reap his soul, Roxy smelling ash remembered the scent right before Roxy returned to the living. Once everyone left the room, Toxie grabbed her roommate urn for safekeeping, but once Roxy claimed ownership of the urn, her roommate ghost manifest and became happy knowing Roxy could see and hear her. But Roxy just started thinking,
maybe one of my family members could help me bring her back.
Roxy met up with her fellow secret society members to properly introduce themselves to each other. Roxy was shown their secret handshake, was given some instructions to contribute to their group, and a road to conceal their identity. But Roxy couldn't wait to try to communicate with the sprites for answer about the tree spirit that found her in the cool-looking tree in Willow Creek. Back at the Foxburg Commons, Roxy was singing with some of the other students on campus when she started experiencing her inner rage build up inside her. But once Roxy swung her hand, a swarm of orange sprites manifest and attacked one of the other students. Noticing the pup Benjamin experiencing a rage moment of his own, Roxy quickly went over to pacify the werewolf and sending him on his way. Being that it was Halloween, Roxy decided to dress up as a llama corn mascot to have some extra fun during this holiday, achieving the Friend of the World milestone during this fun experience.
This your last chance to TP the book statue, so have to hurry up.
Okay, hold up, I can barely see in this outfit.
By the way, graduation is tomorrow.
But as Roxy TP the statue, she started thinking,
graduation tomorrow, but it's only been a week. I wonder if my graduation date have been moved up due to me finishing my final and tutoring a class in physics. If so, great. That mean I can get back to my werewolf life and building my own wolf gang.
Can you believe we're going to graduate today?
I know, I'm so excited. Let's head to the stadium. I can't believe they took our banner off our stadium.
After everyone received their diplomas, a few of the students gathered outside with the mass scout to do one last Foxburg cheer before starting the next chapters of their lives. And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching Roxy's journey from a clueless werewolf to now a college graduate. We want you to remember that with hard work, determination, and solid plan, anything is possible. Dag dag.